What up, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about crowdfunding, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, how to get funded. And specifically on today's video, we're talking about how to get people to care about your product. How do you actually get strangers to care about what you're doing online when it comes to a crowdfunding campaign? And we're getting into that in today's video. Okay, so let's talk about this, right? How do you get strangers to actually care about your campaign, whether this is on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, right? How do you get people to care? We're gonna say, how do you get strangers to care? How do you enroll people into your idea? How do you enroll them into this new product that you have? How do you enroll them into this worldview even of a way to solve a problem that's been different from anything else out there, a new innovative product, if you will, a new game that's being released that's never been released before with really interesting game mechanics and really interesting artwork, right? How do you get people excited about this idea? And I think that's one of the most difficult things when it comes to a crowdfunding campaign is trying to nail that down and with more specificity, because we've all experienced it as a consumer. You, my friend, you have experienced being excited about buying a product. You have been experienced about buying or playing a new game. You experience using something when it comes to like an artwork piece, right? And putting this on your wall and just being so incredibly enamored with it, right? Or looking through a book and be like, this is so freaking cool, and just feeling the world dissipate and you kind of surrendering to this incredible fantasy world which you find yourself in. You have experienced this as a consumer, but the question is, how do you create this effect for other people? So let's begin to examine this. So we have a couple of different variables here, right? We have the company, the person who's actually creating this actual product, right? The brand, if you will. We have the team or person, who are the people behind this. And then obviously we got the products, right? Products that you are offering when it comes to a crowdfunding campaign, that they can get with their rewards, that they're supporting the creation of. You got these three different elements. You got the company, the brand, if you will, the team or the people who are behind this project, and then you have the products. So I want you to really try to think about in your life, what are some of the products that you really love? What are some of the Kickstarter campaigns or Indiegogo campaigns that got you excited? What are some of the even services that you love to use or that you love to experience even on a weekly or a monthly basis? Begin to think about this. Begin to think critically about the types of products that you choose to actually include in your life. And what you'll notice is that when you actually begin to think about these products, there are different ways in which you begin to actually make a buying decision. So let's just take Apple, for example, okay? Apple, we have the core products that are coming out. We're looking at the features, we're looking at the benefits, right? We're looking at the promise, we're looking at the design, we're looking at the feel. How's it gonna fit into my life? How's it gonna fit into the ecosystem itself? You're looking at the problem, you're looking at the solution, right? And that's really where your mind is going when it comes to thinking about the product. So for you, in order to get strangers to care, first of all, you have to have a really compelling promise of some kind. So what does the actual product do? What is the functionality of the product? What is the benefits of the product, right? What are some other things when it comes to the materials that it's made out of? What is this gonna do when it comes to solving a problem? So problem solution, right? How is that problem currently solved? What are some of the ways that you already see this being done, but you're doing it in such a radically different, more exciting way with this actual product that you have? Who is this for as well? Who experiences these problems? So you're gonna be kind of identifying this and more, and I talk about this in my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, this and more when it comes to the individual products. And for someone who's never even encountered who actually made the product, or they've never encountered the team of people who are behind this, right? They know nothing about the company. If they see a product that is exciting, interesting, dynamic, it has something where when it comes to the problem and solution, right, it solves that very well, or the materials are so incredible that it's made out of, or the functionality or benefits are just compelling and exciting in that way. The promise, right, that this is gonna improve your life in a certain way, or this is really for them, this is for that individual. If you see something online that gets you excited in that way, that seems so cool in that way, you are gonna begin to get excited about that product. And you're gonna start to wonder, is this gonna be a good purchase for me? So first of all, when you're getting strangers to care, starting with the product, these are some of the common things when it comes to that, right? And then you also have the company. The company is the brand. The company are the values behind the product that's being made. And sometimes you might love a product, but you don't trust the company, right? Because you don't believe the company is gonna have good customer service. You don't believe the company has good policies as the way that it comes to environmental friendliness. You don't like the actual values behind the company, and thus you decide you don't wanna actually buy that product because you don't like the company, right? So company, when we think about this with a new project, a new campaign, a new creative work, a new board game, whatever it is, we really think about the values. What are the values? What is the purpose of the company? What is the mission of the company? What are some of the objectives that this company has? Now, these kind of seem like management stuff, right? This kind of seems like what a management consultant would say. Oh, you got to focus on the values. You got to think about the mission, right? And you're like, man, I just want to get something out there. That is important. And maybe if you were a small team, you can actually just even ignore that altogether if you were the ones that are running the show. However, I will kind of introduce a new idea into your mind, which is that just because you understand that doesn't mean that other people do. And maybe if you've been recruiting other people to your team, right? And they've been excited about working on this project, maybe if you actually introduced your backers to these same values and same messages when it comes to your mission, your purpose, your objectives, your values, if you begin to actually introduce your backers to that as well in a subtle way, it can get them as enthusiastic about your company. Now, a couple of quick examples here. Let's take Nike, for example, right? Nike sells shoes, right? Shoes are a commodity. Their product is great, feels great, works well, true. However, what makes Nike a brand name? What makes Nike a household name? It's not their products. It's really their company, the values, right? The fact that you can just do it, go out there, push through the pain, right? They're connecting with people on a much higher level, and they're not just selling shoes, they're selling their company values, purpose, mission, and objectives. And because they've introduced the customer base to that, the customer base actually identifies with those values. They identify with the company, so they actually look at their shoes differently. A product, a commodity, which is a shoe, which is actually really low cost, that has a simple check on it, you all of a sudden feel different about wearing that product. You feel different about using that product. You feel different, and you actually are more proud almost to have that when it comes to your shoe, I guess your luggage or wherever you put your shoes, right? I know girls have a lot of shoes. I have like 1 or 2 pairs of shoes. So you got your company, you got your product, and then you have your team or people.
Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description.
Team or people is one of the most important things when it comes to any crowdfunding campaign out there. And when you're trying to get strangers to care about your Kickstarter campaign, your Indiegogo campaign, right? Whatever it is that you are trying to do. So what about the people, right? What about the people? One of the things could be, for example, their prior experience or work. So maybe you've recruited an incredible artist of some sort. Why not include him on your team and talk about the amazing artwork that he's done before, talk about some of the samples of things that he's already created, and how this new card game that you're making is gonna be so gangbusters, banana and crazy, insane, awesome because of the experience of this artist. What are some of the other things when it comes to this, right? So, when it's a team, you're trying to execute a new product of some kind, like a new product that requires engineering, it would also be your skills, right? So the hard skills actually behind that team and the way that this team can actually pull this off. If you raise 6 figures, if you raise 7 figures when it comes to a crowdfunding campaign, your team can actually pull this off. Other things when it comes to the team is the actual attitude of the team. So the attitude of the team could be, for example, that we are willing to engage in customer service. We're willing to actually answer questions. We're willing to invite people to leave questions as well. We are enthusiastic, we are passionate, we're inspired, right? When it comes to these new products that we're coming out to, the attitude of the team bleeds into the campaign, and it also plays into the overall company values. Another element when it comes to the team as well could be things when it comes to recognition, right? So if you see, for example, a teammate on that actual team, and actually this is great with the Nomadic team when it came to that podcast episode when I was actually interviewing the Nomadic team, who are very famous in the Kickstarter campaign, kind of niche, and they come out with backpacks and really interesting travel gear, etc. And they actually partnered with Peter McKinnon to have greater broad awareness when it comes to a new campaign that they were launching. Obviously, he's a massive YouTuber, right? When it comes to that. So for him, having that kind of recognition really added to the overall feeling of the team and the people that they were creating a product that was for filmers and photographers and camera makers, right? And people that love to use cameras, for example. If they are partnering with someone who also is really seasoned with that and other people recognize that, if obviously going to really sell the team and it's going to make strangers care about this product, about this company, and about this overall campaign. So a lot of the times when I'm talking with a coaching student, we'll be talking about their incredible product they have, the team they have, et cetera, right? And they do have the raw material to be able to pull off the campaign. However, what they're missing is integrating all these things together and presenting it in a really interesting and flavorful way. Because if you don't do this, then this is in your head, but it's not really out there when it comes to the universe. Other people out there don't understand the importance of this. They don't understand why you're doing it. They don't understand who's behind the team. They don't understand the full features when it comes to the products, the benefits, the materials that you're using. And you just kind of seem maybe like a Me Too product, or you seem something that isn't really have a lot of care and interest behind that. And typically, a crowdfunding backer is not as interested in that kind of a product. What these lead to is that when you really do this well, this unlocks what I call an X factor experience. So an X factor is kind of like when you see that Kickstarter campaign and you're like, oh yeah, this has that X factor, right? This has that kind of feel that most campaigns have, that slick feel when it comes to, this is why we're doing that slick feel when it comes to the design, the elements, the functionality. You've really thought this out, having a great team behind this. You can see these people obviously care. It kind of creates this X factor. It's almost this concoction that you've kind of put together in order to brew this together to have a really incredible end result. Now, I would urge you that as you're beginning to put together a campaign, you obviously don't want to overthink this too much, but just spend a little bit of time thinking about these different things: the company, the team, the product, right? How are you emphasizing this? Have you actually even written this down? Have you included this in some kind of a Google document, right? When I talk about this in a Kickstarter line format, it's also understand this. So not only you can have the X factor, but you can also change perceptions. So like, I'm gonna actually put this in a different color. What is even the point of the X factor is that you're using all of these different variables in order to alter perception. And at the end of the day, that is exactly what marketing is, right? Altering people's perceptions. For example, with Nike, right? If you didn't know that the whole slogan behind just do it, or you didn't know about the values, you didn't know about the way that they're so passionate about this, right? And they didn't have all these other different ancillary like apps and stuff like that for you to actually use, you might not feel as though wearing a Nike shoe is almost like a symbol, if you will, of how you're willing to push through pain. You might not emotionally understand that. You might not have those beliefs. And so you might just view a Nike shoe as almost like another shoe that's out there. So it creates a feeling toward the product. Does that make sense? Leave a comment down below if what I'm talking about right now makes sense. Give me a thumbs up as well if that makes sense. This is all about perception. This is all about marketing and transmitting a feeling through a computer screen to get strangers to care about your products. So if you want to talk about how you can actually do this tangibly with your campaign, you want to talk about how to do this when it comes to your product, what you're trying to raise money for, book a one-on-one coaching call down below. These are intensive coaching calls going through exactly what you need to do in order to be successful, going over the materials that you already have, giving you assignments, homework, action items, checklists, like all that kind of stuff we talk about on the coaching calls. And this is really a good fit for you if you really are invested in being successful here. You want to do this right. You want to do it by the book, but also you want to discover some of the secrets when it comes to raising money with a crowdfunding campaign. And you also want to know how this applies to you. So again, if that sounds interesting, book a one-on-one coaching call down below with me. Thank you so much for tuning into this YouTube video. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you next time.